Thanks to those of you who have checked out my Patreon, I am able to make a new series of Pokemon Epics, and a big shout out, of course, to the Nerd Therapist and Wilgrim. Hello Pokemon Masters, Birdkeeper Toby here, and thank you for clicking on this video. Generation 8 is nearly upon us now. Generation 8. Wow, how time has flown by. Pokemon Sword and Shield are out this time next month. I will be probably trying to do a new video every single day around Gala, just to be like a Gala week like I usually would on a video games release. And I'm considering doing a Let's Play. I'm going to be doing a live stream on the day of the game's release, and that live stream will go on for 12 hours, 15 hours, 20 hours, however long the game is. And then I'm thinking about breaking up the segments of that live stream and re-uploading it to YouTube as a Let's Play. Of course, that would be a lot of videos in a small period of time. What do you think about that? But that's just a little bit of looking forward. Today, I want to look back. I want to look back at Generation 7. My history here on the channel, because I didn't start until after Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Generation 7 has been the whole of Birdkeeper Toby, and I just want to talk about it in a little bit of a retrospective. But before I get into that, we have a sponsor today. And I hope you're going to laugh a little bit and enjoy the fact that today I have been sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Is it just me, or when did mobile games start looking that good? And I say the reason you might laugh a little bit is because, like me, you might have seen the sponsorships with other YouTubers. Loads of people have been talking about it. On top of that, they have the really great ads where they've been showing off their various champions. And yeah, you might have seen the game and like me been like, okay, that looks very pretty, but how much does it cost? And that's the great thing. You can play Raid Shadow Legends for absolutely free, absolutely nothing, which is, in my opinion, the best price point. The game is growing super fast, and the highly anticipated new Faction Wars feature is now live. And there is a new awesome rewards program with new daily login rewards for the first 90 days. And my initial thought when I downloaded it was, yeah, the graphics look incredible for a mobile game. On top of that, it's got a cool story, it's got PvP, it's got some boss battles, and I'm really wanting revenge from that dragon. It ate up one of my champions at the beginning, and that's okay though, because in Raid Shadow Legends there is over 100 champions to choose from, and look at the graphics and details on those champions. And in Raid, you have the ability to personally choose and customize the artifacts and make a mastery build of each one of them. And like I say, it's not just me who's been talking about it, there's been plenty of other YouTubers. In fact, there have been over 10 million downloads over the first 6 months of this game's existence. And it's been reviewed over 30,000 times to near complete, like, perfect score. If you click the link at the top of the description, you can see for yourself. If you download it today, you get 50,000 free silver to begin with and an epic champion to start your journey. And like I say, it is absolutely free, so why not check it out, and thank you to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. Right, back to the wonderful world of Pokemon and Generation 7 in review. Now, I say in review, this is not going to be a formal review video. The reason I wanted to make this video is I did see a video by, I can't remember who it was. I will find it, I will link it, and it was a complete review of Generation 7. And they touched on, you know, Pokemon Sun and Moon, Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. But to me, Generation 7 was more than just those games. To me, it is a whole time period that represents the very beginning of this channel right up to today, as we're getting ready for Generation 8 and for Pokemon Sword and Shield. It's also Pokemon Go and Pokemon Red, Blue and Yellow and Gold, Silver and Crystal on the Virtual Console. It's the cards that came out during that time. It's all of the experiences that I had to do with Pokemon that were new over the last few years. And this won't be a formal review because I'm not great at reviewing, I'm not a good reviewer. All I can tell you is my experience. I started this YouTube channel, Birdkeeper Toby, in 2016? No, 2015. In 2015, right after Omega Ruby and Sapphire had come out the year before. We had no idea what was coming up on the horizon, and a few months into the channel's existence, we saw the first glimpse of the new Zygarde form, Perfect Zygarde. At the time, we thought we're gonna get Pokemon Z version, or Pokemon Z, whichever you prefer. In fact, I bet money, I was like, this is what is going to happen. And sure enough, we absolutely didn't, and I was a gullible idiot and totally wrong. The next year, we got the announcements for Pokemon Sun and Moon, and that whole build-up period where they were revealing new information, it was very different to how it is now. They were revealing new information pretty much every other week. Here's a new Pokemon, here's a new Pokemon, here's a new location, here's a new character. There was lots that they wanted to talk about. They took a very different approach to the marketing of Sun and Moon than they have to Sword and Shield. And I've got to admit, I'm very biased and very nostalgically attached to that time. Doing the Elite Four podcast with Candy Eevee, Ace Trainer Liam, PD Winnel was a lot of fun meeting up with my friends and hanging out in person and just talking about these new Pokemon games. It was a good time. And again, I'm sorry for people who maybe aren't familiar with my channel, but this is the only perspective I can give you. My channel was at a point where we were growing from 30,000 subscribers up to 130,000 subscribers. That year, 2016, was a big time. It was my beginnings here on YouTube, really. At the same time, because it was the 20th anniversary of Pokemon, it was a big old celebration. Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow were coming out on Virtual Console, and we were told that through Pokemon Bank we were going to be able to transfer those Pokemon to our new games. To me, that was very exciting. After all, until a few years ago, if you played Pokemon Red, Blue, or Yellow, those Pokemon were just stuck on that cartridge until the game died. But now we could kind of move those Pokemon from those adventures up, Avengers style, and I kind of really like that. The Pokemon cards had the Pokemon Evolution set and the Pokemon Generation set with the mythical distributions going on. The build-up, the hype for Sun and Moon, that is as much a part of the Sun and Moon era as anything else. On top of that, Pokemon Go happened. I mean, wow, was Pokemon Go big. I feel like Pokemon Go was the year before, possibly, but there's no denying that Pokemon Go has helped define this generation of Pokemon, even if you're like me and you don't even play it that much. It has had a very noticeable and big impact. Of course, we finally got the release, Pokemon Sun and Moon. What did I think of the actual games? There's a lot to love here, and there is a lot to be very disappointed in. It's quite sad, actually. Don't get me wrong, I think the inspiration and the design behind the region, the Alola region, is beautiful. It's just a shame that in terms of gameplay, it's very linear. You go around each island in a direct circle, and then you hop from one island to the other. There's not much room for what I would call organic exploration. The Pokemon are phenomenal. I mean, we've got some of the best designs. Gliscopod in particular is a personal favorite of mine. Stuffle is in there. I mean, come on, look at his dumb little he's so cute. Oh, it's soft. For me, Rowlet was an instant winner for the starters, but that's not because I disliked the others. In fact, I think Poplio and Litten also provided their own kind of levels of interest, and I've had the chance to play an adventure with them all. The Ultra Beasts were a new kind of thing, a new type of legendary Pokemon, and they were, well, I really liked the idea behind them, but there are a lot of them, and I think some of them can really, like, just disappear into the crowd. They introduced more Ultra Beasts in the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon games, so just in terms of the ones that were in Sun and Moon, Nihilego really stole the spotlight. I mean, Necrozma and Solgaleo and Lunala as well, although it was very unclear whether they were Ultra Beasts or not. I kind of wish in the game it was more clear, because kind of in lore they are Ultra Beasts, but in game and mechanics they are not. Same with Silvally being a legendary, actually. I wish I just move it in the Pokedex, make it clearer. Whatever, it doesn't matter. And while I thought the idea of having island trials instead of Pokemon gyms was a really, really interesting one, ultimately pretty much the same thing anyway. But they were, I think, a cooler version. I think I like the ones where it felt like you had to do the challenge and then you would have a big battle afterwards. Oh, and of course, how can I not mention regional variants? That was like a massive new thing. Great idea, they should keep on doing it. I love it. Oh, what's that? They are still doing it. Great. Although, total missed opportunity that Crystal Onyx wasn't a Alolan form. It should have been. I'm also very 50-50 on the characters. Some of the characters like Guzma and Lily even were pretty interesting and had their own arcs that I found to be like, okay, cool, I want to see where that's going. But then some of them, like How, for example, I didn't really care that much. I actually found How to be very irritating as a rival character when you pretty much just play as How. Like, you're the same gut character. You don't need two of you. I've been vocal about that before. I won't keep going on about it. But ultimately, my biggest criticism and the biggest thing that stopped me wanting to replay Sun and Moon, other than the fact that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are better, I will get to that, is the unbelievable amount of hand-holding dialogue that every single new route that you enter, there's no time to kind of get lost in the world and explore because someone comes up to you and a text box appears and it just keeps going. We skip forward a year and we now get Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon a year later. We also get Virtual Console Gold and Silver. I think when they announced Virtual Console Gold and Silver, I was like, okay, well, they're obviously going to do Crystal, so I bought them again, knowing that Crystal is just going to be the better version. In terms of the cards that were coming out at that time, I do remember really enjoying the Shining Legends set. It really reinvigorated my love of the Shining Pokemon of old. And that year, my interest in competitive play in the card game just started to peak a little bit. I thought, oh, okay, there's some interesting stuff going on there. I think the card game looks really interesting now. Actually, I'm really into it now. But that is besides the point. When it comes to the Ultra games, I think the thing that pretty much everyone unanimously agrees is they are Sun and Moon, but better. There is no real reason to replay Sun and Moon because Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are the same games, but better. Now, this was never not the case for like Crystal versus Gold and Silver or Emerald versus Ruby and Sapphire, but I really truly felt that like there was just, you know, Black and White give a totally different vibe to Black and White 2, mostly because of the roster of Pokemon available. But Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are just Sun and Moon, but they're just better, they've got more stuff. I will say it messes with the story a little bit by introducing so many more new characters when there was already a big cast. People like Luzamine get really lost in the cast. But the Ultra Recon Squad, more Ultra Beasts, Poipole in particular was a cool one. You know, there was a fair bit of build up to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon as well, like what'll be new, and of course we got the Rainbow Rocket arc, and I think that whole post-game story would have been really nice if I got to the game and it was a surprise and it wasn't spoiled like beforehand, but yeah. That is also really cool. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon does do a little bit to mitigate the text box issues, but certainly in my opinion, not enough. The games kind of suffer, and this reputation of being hand-holdy didn't help it because the next year, Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee came out, and these were the games marketed towards a younger audience. I think maybe Game Freak missed the mark a little bit because they were intending that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon would be the games for the pro players, and the, you know, Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu would be the games for the new players. And sadly, they just all seem to be the games for the new players, which is great for the new players, but you know, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, too many text boxes. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, I actually liked all of the changes, like catching Pokemon instead of battling them. I found it to be a very refreshing change of pace, and I thought it was a fun way to go about Kanto. But again, I think there were some extra steps that could have been taken to make the games better. Just simply, for example, extra Kanto content. I think it would have been nice to see maybe the Sevi Islands, or maybe to see some post-game area, or the inclusion of, you know, they included characters like Archer, or there was a early cutscene with Lorelei. It would have been nice to have seen more of that stuff. But ultimately, the games were enjoyable enough. And in my opinion, I love the art style. I think they look great. I'm hoping this jump to the Switch has been a really good learning experience for Game Freak though, because I mean, Sword and Shield is, in my opinion, looking to be the most gorgeous Pokemon games yet. We also, at the beginning of the year, got Virtual Console Crystal, which, you know, I mean, just revisiting that for me is gorgeous. And again, I insist that that is part of the Generation 7 story, the Generation 7 arc. To me, the idea that I get to now shiny hunt in Generation 2 games and get the shiny Noctowl with the Virtual Console logo and then transfer it up, that is as much a part of my Generation 7 adventure as anything else. And now we move into this time of life where we're now getting ready finally to see Generation 8 and to see Pokemon Sword and Shield. And I look back at all of this, as I've just talked about it now, and I think, did Generation 7 work for me? And I think the answer to that is yes and no, maybe leaning a little bit towards no. Don't get me wrong, my love for Pokemon over the last 3 or 4 years has been more than ever. Like I say, my whole channel's history has been around my passion and love for these games. Getting to play Virtual Console Crystal, relearning my love for the card games. I'm loving seeing all of these new Pokemon in the cards, the Ultra Beast mechanic in the card games, or the Tag Team GXs. I'm loving that stuff. And like I say, there are so many good Pokemon in Alola. Golisopod is one of, if not my favourite Pokemon right now. I bloomin' love it. And its shiny form looks cool too. The fact that it's going to be in Sword and Shield, I might even reuse it then. I love it that much. This Pokemon is amazing. Like I say, I love Stuffle, I Rowlet, I love Crabrawler. I don't love Crabrawler's evolution. But there's a lot to like about the Pokemon, and even the world building. The region and the character and the lore and the theories that I've got to do. There's been a lot to love. But talking from a purely gameplay point of view, I played Pokemon Sun and Moon once. I'm trying to replay it at the moment and it's been quite slow. It's been hard to grip me again. Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I did play twice over and I really enjoyed it. I think that is the standout moment of Pokemon Generation 7 overall. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Let's Go, I did massively enjoy playing the first time I played it, but then after that, once I had completed the Pokedex, I had got everything out of it, I had done the Meltan Melmetal stuff through Pokemon Go, I kind of felt like my time with Let's Go has run a little bit dry. Although I will not, absolutely not forget the impact that playing Let's Go has had on this channel. In fact, my most popular video is when I got to play Let's Go early, which I am incredibly grateful for. I had a good time, and I had a good time playing the game the first time round. I've just not had the motivation to go back. Then again, with that one, it has only been a year. The card game has only gripped me more and more. The Virtual Console re-releases have gripped me more and more. I think in the last 2 years I've replayed through Virtual Console Johto like 3 times, and I fully intend to go back and do more. Now I'm trying it with shiny Pokemon. And in fact, the introduction of Celebi into Virtual Console Crystal is what has made me want to make the series about taking a mythical Pokemon and reintroducing it into the series and making it better, or a legendary Pokemon. But like I say, as a retrospective, looking back, I do think my closing thoughts on the generation were, it was good. It was a 5, a 6, a 7 out of 10. It was not my favorite generation in terms of gameplay. In terms of lore and world building, I'll give it to it. It really had it good. Yeah, I think 6 or 7 out of 10. But I'm looking so much more forward to Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, of course, this is entirely an opinion piece. This is not a formal review, this is not a formal critique, and I'm sure you could have taken any of the things I said, broken them down, and told me why I'm wrong to think that way. This is just how I, as a Pokemon fan, am feeling today, and maybe tomorrow I'll feel completely different. But I would love to know, of course, how you're feeling in the comments section below. Thank you again massively to today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legend. Check out that link, download it, it is free, get your 50,000 silver. It's actually a really gorgeous looking game. And with that being said, of course, soar high, Pokemon Master.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a